What do you get when you cross a know-it-all newspaper columnist with an awkward, unsophisticated everyman?
Yeah. Well, I'm just not sure about that right now.
Welcome to Couch and the Rube.
Welcome to Couch in the Rube, presented by Skymint Premium Cannabis, inspiring people to do better, live better, love better, eat lots better, feel better, sleep better every damn day of their lives. And our Sunday night show, brought to you by our friends Mark and Jay from North Coast Wealth Management. If you have investment questions about anything, saving for retirement, Social Security benefits, Mark and Jay are here to help. You can give them a call, 248-626-2000, 248-626-2000. You can find them online at northcoastwm.com. Also, email them, info@northcoastwm.com. And let Mark and Jay know that Couch in the Roof sent you for a free consultation to see if North Coast Wealth Management is a fit for you. Jason, how you doing, man?
Oh, my God, we won the lottery!
What's up, buddy? I don't know about these back-to-back shows. I have a feeling we're going to have some Carmen Electra's hot takes tonight.
Not only we've actually seen a lot of each other.
We have.
This weekend.
Yeah.
Probably more than ever before in one weekend.
Yeah, people often ask, like, do you and Graham hang out? Absolutely not, unless it means Andrew Gautier's birthday. And then, of course, Andrew Gautier, the Groovy Donuts people, and Monica, we had to get together and do a little putt-putt golf where Graham took $20 of my money. Congratulations.
I'm a decent putt-putt. I did lose to my wife, who's a shit talker. She is a
hole-in-one. Not
only that, she will just sear your confidence to shreds. I mean, it is unbelievable, the stuff. You got to ask. I mean, ask Monica about this at some point. It is incredible that just the mental warfare in a game of putt-putt at Little Hawk. And if you've ever been to Little Hawk, it's a really cool place because it's like a real putting greens, right? They're like, it's not like windmills and stuff. It's a little different. It was kind of fun. Anyway.
I know it'll never happen, but we should really do a Couch in the Rube putt-putt contest there.
It would be awesome. We could rent the place out, I think, and do it.
Where, like, you and I just sit at one hole and then putt with everybody. Like, putt on one hole, kind of like they do with a golf tournament.
Yeah, we do the long hole. That one hole that, you really
with
fuck
a
up.
Sand trap at the bottom.
Yeah, we do that hole with everybody.
Should I bring my own putter next time?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Makes a difference.
Yeah.
Makes a
difference.
That
was fun.
That was absolutely awesome, for sure. Yeah, we did a show yesterday. We're gonna do.
Tony Dombrowski drops today, by the way.
Oh, nice.
Oh, my God, we won the lottery!
It was only I could get a couple today, so maybe more as the weeks progress.
We actually have some of the listener hot takes, which we'll get into in a little bit. Involve.
Speaking of, Graham, we were sitting outside of the clubhouse waiting for everyone, and someone walked by and went, "Couch in the Rube."
It was kind of awesome.
And they looked at Graham because they don't know what I look like apparently, so it's fine. Like, oh, the Rube, yeah, whatever. Hey, Graham, anyway, what's up with the transfer portal? So, yeah, it's amazing that anyone listens to this shit, period.
It's amazing.
See us in public.
And that person probably saw the two of us together, one of the few people that's ever seen the two of us together outside the studio.
Yeah, other than being in a parking lot telling a terrible jail story
right
on a live remote during the Michigan State game where every major network was there.
Or Front 43 or other things like that. Yeah.
Sure.
A few other places, but you know what I mean.
You sound really happy about not hanging out with me.
It's not at all what I meant. It's not
like it's a great thing.
It's not what I meant. It's not what I meant at all. Do we want to dig into these hot takes?
Yeah. Do you want to go first, or do you want?
Sure.
Go ahead. You want a 69 Michigan State first? Go ahead.
No. I'm not going to go there.
Okay.
Why don't you go first?
NBA refs are ass. I don't know if you watched the Grizzlies Golden State game, Graham, before we came in here to do this show. Great game, but I'm concerned about the NBA. Obviously, the NBA isn't as like it was when we were younger, 90s, 80s, 90s basketball. But what are we watching? I just don't understand. Should we pay the refs more? I don't understand what the solution would be with the referees, but I can understand if you're making $300,000 reffing an NBA game that's littered with guys making $30 million and they're just constantly making fun of you and goofing on you and yelling at you what you're doing wrong. I'm pretty sure there's some spike calls that have to be out there. So my only solution to the NBA refs being ass would be, do we have to pay these guys more? Because I haven't heard another solution. I can't think of another one right now.
Is this about Draymond Green getting thrown out? Or?
Yeah, just that, and like how many free throws do you need to see in one game that you call it? I'm just saying it's like the college basketball game. It's if you want to call it the same throughout the game. You're calling ticky-tack fouls, and then you're letting them play. They're diving for loose balls, and then all of a sudden it's a jump ball. What are you talking about?
They're usually so much better than the college refs. And frankly, what we all want for the college game is what the NBA game has, which is full-time refs, and they control so much more.
But with the Draymond thing, though, you sit there and you go to a replay. If it's bang, bang, I have no problem. It's got to be hard to sit there and do it in real time. But when you're going back and you throw a guy out and you look at the tape, and you go, okay, I don't think he meant to pull the guy down. That's the problem I have is when you go to a review and see it 90 times and still come to the same conclusion.
Fair enough.
Just a terrible. It's a shit product, and it bums me out because I love the NBA.
Yeah,
it's tough.
I didn't watch. I watched part of the game, and that did not stand out to me. But it always drives me nuts when that stuff ruins.
I know, but it ruined it because it was a great game, ruined by all of a sudden you're calling ticky-tack shit. Well, let these guys play.
Were other people complaining about it on Twitter or anywhere else?
I didn't look. I come up with my own opinions, Graham. I don't have to go to Twitter for validation.
Okay, that's fair enough. All right. My first hot take. There is a scene in the film My Big Fat Greek Wedding. Have you ever seen that film?
Not on purpose.
Okay. It came out in like 2003, 2002, about 2003-ish. Saw it at the Lindo Theater on a Monday night, snowy Monday night in downtown Freeport, Illinois. Anyway, May 2004. Where a woman in this film, a woman is explaining how she convinces her husband to do things, and basically the idea is she has to make him think he came up with the idea, which is not a new concept. That's lots of times you can't get people to do things unless they come up with the idea themselves. So it's a little bit of mind games. This is where we are with the NIL and the transfer portal, I believe. Things are getting messy, right? Jordan Addison, the Blitnikoff winner at Pitt, is rumored to be leaving for USC for a $3 million. Now, at least he's the top receiver in college football, and so this is the free agency in college sports. I don't know if this is bad or not. I know this. People say,
it's not good.
People say regular student athletes can move without sitting out. Yeah, but regular student athletes don't leave with 1 year left of school because they wouldn't finish their degree. Or regular students, they don't leave at this point. Like if this is college, if this is college ball at all, and then there's some questions on that. That said, I don't know if it's right or wrong. Whatever comes out of this, whatever parameters are set, because eventually you're going to need them, because this is getting to the point where it's going to be a real turnoff. If you're a Pitt fan right now, I'm really turned. I'm not sure I want to go to games. Part of what we love about college football and college basketball and college sports is the roster construction, the ability to build a team and enjoy players over a couple years, and think of them as part of our schools or our teams. And look, that may or may not be 100% fair to them. I'm just saying what people like about the sports. But whatever comes out of this has to come from a player-led group of voices or former players. And over time, we're going to get new data, right? We're going to see the number of players who were left out in the cold, who screwed up their opportunity because of this, who didn't have a landing spot. We're going to see how many fewer high school kids are finding Division I scholarships because there's so many scholarships just left open. There will be a desire, I think, in the next few years for parameters. The thing is, it has to come from a player-led group or it has to be seen as player-driven. And this comes, so it can be coaches' ideas. It can be Matt Painter's, what I think is a pretty decent idea, that if you transfer after your freshman year only, you do have to sit out a year. Any other time you can leave and play right away. And if a player comes up with that, it's okay. The coaches sound like hypocrites because they can move so easily. The coaches, some of them may have, and many of them maybe have the right, want what's best for players at heart. Some of them don't. Some of them are more selfish. Some of them sound really absurd, like when Bill Self talks about it, just because he's moved around so much. But the idea can be the same. It's got to sound like it's coming from the players. And the next president of the NCAA has to speak like it that too. It's got to talk like we need to do what's best for players and find out what that truly is and talk to them and live in that world And if you do that, I think you can save this situation, or you can find some parameters that work and that make sense over time. But it can't come from coaches. Coaches need to get the fuck out of the room. They have to understand people, when they speak, think, of course, that's coaches. And coaches are going to have to give something on this, I believe, too. I think you got to look at something like, okay, if you want kids to sit out a year because you think it's good for them if they leave after their freshman year only. If you leave after your sophomore year, junior year, whatever, graduates, whatever, then coaches shouldn't be able to jump from one head coaching job to another after just 1 year either. Now, Matt Painter, he spent 1 year as the head coach at SIU, then spent a year in waiting at Purdue. You could maybe do that. You could do other things, but you can't go someplace where you have 1 year as a hot mid-major coach and then jump up and leave those kids when they can't leave the same way. The coaches are going to have to give up something. There's going to have to be something in the rules that they understand how absurd and the hypocrisy of it. But basically my whole thing is the only way this gets fixed is if it's a player-driven situation, player-led group, player voices, and the ideas can be the same, but coaches have to somehow make these players realize it, and so they think they came up with it. That's the long way about it.
So the coaches need to get out of the way. But, I mean, all of that you mentioned, shouldn't that have happened already? The discussion of maybe should the players – I just don't – it just seems like a free-for-all to me, and it's going to be wild. And I just feel like we're going to wait for it to get out of hand and then go, whoa, 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 we need to reel this in, and then it's going to be too late. How do you reel it in when guys are making $3 million now?
Well, the NCAA screwed this up by not embracing it and not getting out in front of it like they did. I mean, and so it's hard to come back for it. But, no, that's a fair question. And I don't know that the Jordan Addison situation, other than what clearly looks like tampering, which in most pro sports would result in that player not being able to go there, it would result in loss of draft picks. Like the idea that, I get it. You can that there have been parameters that maybe are too strict on athletes, and athletes not being able to earn off their name, image, and likeness and other things. But in the pro games, which this is moving closer to, they do have rules. I mean, if USC lost 5 scholarships and Addison couldn't go there, that's not wrong. That's not saying, oh, hey, you're trying to keep the man down. Fuck that. No, that's saying you can't, before a kid's in the transfer portal, approach him with a contract for $3 million and say transfer to this school. That's just in terms of fair play. And if they're going to have to come up with some rules, and those are the sort of things, again, that you got to think about. But it's got to come from players. It's got to come. It can't. If it comes from gray hairs, or if it comes from coaches cannot speak on this. We know where they stand. Nobody gives a shit where they stand. They've got to talk to their teams and say,
don't coach my team.
This is where I stand, but ultimately this has to come from you, or whatever player group is formed, or however the rules are created with player voices. It cannot be coaches. It cannot be coaches. It cannot be seen as
they have to have a voice, or else Izzo's going to retire right now.
That's fine.
If you gave him that option, he's going to go, all right, I retire.
No, he just wants things to get better. I don't think he cares if.
But it sounds like ass. If you can't even have a voice or an opinion and let the players run with this, I don't know how that's going to work out.
Izzo is largely right. The problem is people don't want to hear it from him.
Sure. Well, and Mark Emmert, with him stepping down, I mean, who's going to want that job? I'm sure there's going to be someone that's going to fill it, obviously, but do you want that job? I mean, it's going to be the Wild West. Mark Emmert's getting out at the right time.
I would love that job. I would love to try to bring people together and get that job and tackle these sort of things, because ultimately it's going to take listening to a lot of ideas. There will be some good ideas out there.
I would love for you to get that job, and then 6 months after, we need to report of how you're feeling then.
I think
it sounds great right now, but
I think I would enjoy it. What is your second hot take?
Well, I know I'm dead inside, but the Lions draft is over, and I decided to go through and check out our Detroit sports writers and to see what they were posting. Now, I know I'm dead inside, but I've earned that right. If you're covering the team, I feel like you should give me some sort of uplifting news. Now, we're not going to mention any names, Graham, because I know that you're scared of that kind of thing because of one man. One guy, I'm not going to mention any names, who has 4,184 followers. He tweeted out his grades for the Lions draft, and guess how many likes or interactions his tweet had in the 13 hours as of 10:30 a.m., Graham? 1. And you want to know what it said? I wholeheartedly hate you and everything that you post. How is that possible? How can you constantly post stuff on Twitter? You're covering the team. How is this newspaper? We're talking about newspapers hemorrhaging money.
Is this Los?
Well, I didn't know
We can say Los.
We can say Los. Okay, it is Los, but it blows my mind every time I see his shit, his fake whatever Skip Bayless thing he's going for. And if it works like Skip Bayless, totally understand it. If that saved the newspaper industry, I'm in. Admit that you're doing it. But honestly, no one's paying attention. So I don't want to see anyone get fired, but maybe he needs to go into another line of work.
When you have the type of opinions he has, and you've only got 4,000 some followers, in the platform that he has, which is a massive platform, you're doing something wrong. People have tuned you out because they don't respect what you're saying, and that's a problem.
It's constant.
Yeah.
If you go through his posts on Twitter, everybody's like, "I don't care what you say, ass, garbage."
No, he's
everything you post is ass. I mean, it's just
he's the Rob Parker of the Free Press in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
yeah.
But I mean, I would like guys like Woj and stuff like that. And Meinke and Burkett. It's just like, I understand we have to be positive somewhat here, but ripping these picks apart and Brad Holmes apart right now, I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't
the wrong way.
It doesn't make sense because we don't know. So why would you, if you choose to be positive or negative, why would you choose to be negative unless you really had information that was like this was?
But also, you have a history of being negative in spots where it sounds like you're just trying to do it to get a rise out of people, and Detroit fans hate that shit.
And like, there's just parts
just
of
be
this,
yourself.
There are parts of this draft that I think could be. I mean, we don't know if Aiden Hutchinson is going to be a stud. We don't, but I don't think it's a bad draft pick, and we don't know what's going to happen. With their other picks. I think they made a really intriguing. Was it 12? Was it their other where they got
traded
Jameson?
up?
They got Jameson.
Yep.
So I'd like what they tried to do there. Now, does it work? We don't know. But it's really hard to overly criticize at this point in a second year of a regime.
I understand because the Lions franchise is a sad sack, but we have new guys at the helm here, and let's have some sort of little bit of positivity.
Why not? Otherwise, this shit isn't worth it.
Right.
It's just not worth it.
Right.
I'm with you.
All right. Sorry, Los.
My second hot take. Clayton Kershaw is the Omar Infante of Hall of Fame pitchers. Now, if you don't know what that means, Omar Infante, when he used to play for the Tigers back in like the late 2000s, 2007, 8, whatever, 6, when he was on those teams. Guy batted like 270. He was clearly a good hitter, maybe less than that. I never saw him get a hit once. Never saw it. I swear he batted 0-0-0-0-0-0-0. Never saw a hit, an Omar Infante hit. Every time the Tigers needed a hit in a decent spot, he didn't get it. I'm going to tell you that right now. He got a lot of hits that didn't matter in his career. Clayton Kershaw, if there's ever somebody I'm going to bet against, it's him. Last night, of course, I put money on the Dodgers. Of course, I lost it. Of course, he was average as shit because he's often average as shit anytime you're paying attention to him. The numbers are great. He's a Hall of Famer. He's had some great. Today, of course, the Dodgers were going to win big. The guy on the mound was better than Kershaw. Same for 2 days. Clayton Kershaw, I'm going to tell you right now, every time he's on the mound for the Dodgers, I'm not saying that they got a great lineup, so it's a little dangerous to bet against them as a team. But bet on the other team's over. I'm just going to tell you right now, Clayton Kershaw, when you're paying attention, he will not deliver. And it has happened time and time again. I am like 0 for 72 on Clayton Kershaw bets in my life. I just wanted to put that out there. He is the Omar Infante of Hall of Fame.
I would think
pitchers.
after 70, you would maybe learn your lesson.
I'm not that bright. I'm just not.
I mean, Breesky. Is that how you say his last name? Bo Breesky?
Yeah.
He looked good.
He was better than Clayton Kershaw.
50K in that stadium last night. The last time he pitched, it was Miggy's 3,000th hit game. I like what I see.
It's promising. Very promising. What is your third hot take?
Well, before we get into Carmen Electra's hot here, I think I'll let someone break the game down that happened today as my third take.
Can't use the it's too early in the season excuse. Eventually he will need to start pitching better. Hopefully that comes sooner rather than later. But today, some good and some bad for Erod. While offensively, once again, there was some good and bad for the offense today. The bad, 13 strikeouts and 9 left on base. That's not good. But the good, Miggy and Candy both hit their first homers of the season. That was good to see, especially for Candy. I'm telling you, I know Candy is better than what we're seeing right now. So hopefully, after that homer today, that's the kind of the boost that he needs to really get the bat going and just get going in general.
Live read.
But, that's all I got for this one. Enjoy the off day tomorrow. We'll see you on Tuesday night.
No live read.
Whoa.
Wow. I need to preview these then.
Tigers gambling update.
It's not very professional.
Gramanito Couch and Jason.
Did Roast Umber pull the sponsorship?
No, there's still a sponsorship on the tweet, so
Okay,
I need to start previewing these. I think he was a little too excited about Miggy and Candy getting their first home run of the season. Now, where are we going gambling-wise with the Tigers?
I don't know.
Did we learn anything from that Dodgers series?
I mean, here's the problem: is they got the Pirates next. I'm not betting on the Pirates. I'm not betting on these Tigers. I'm just off it for a minute until they get going. You know what I mean?
Should we bet the? I mean, obviously Kershaw going last night. It was like, all right, this is the game. The Tigers win. Is that the team they're going to be gambling wise? This year, gambling wise.
I think
I don't want to deal with that.
One thing I'm learning is the guy that everybody thinks is their ace is not.
Who's that?
What's his nuts? The guy pitched today. Fuck. I don't know. Fuck.
What?
We won't be long now.
What was that?
Eduardo Rodriguez.
Yeah.
I was blanking on his first name.
What the fuck was that?
I don't know. You can count on right now. You can count on him losing most times. It's just like they're going to be in better shape. Here's the other thing: if Fulmer pitches an inning and a half the day before and he's not available in the bullpen, don't bet on the Tigers because when he's available, they're a better team. You know what I mean? Like there are certain things you just don't want to do. I'm not betting on the Tigers at all right now. Just
Fulmer.
not going to do it.
All right.
Yeah, not going to do it. All right, my third hot take. This morning, Everton over Chelsea, 1-0, game in Everton. Everton battling like crazy to avoid relegation for the first time in like 70 years. And we have nothing like that in American sports. And I'm not telling you to love soccer. This has nothing to do with soccer. It has something to do with, I wish we could create the desperation among teams toward the bottom. Like they took out a really good Chelsea team that didn't have a ton to play for, but the intensity in that stadium, the goalkeeping, I mean, was absolutely just incredible. And I just wish we had a way, and I don't know what it is because I don't think we can ever do relegation. But without relegation, which is a team falling down an entire league, I don't know that you can create what they have, and what they have is worth trying to get. And so I would love to find a way for the NBA to split itself. I'm not saying you bring CBA teams in, a team gets kicked out of it, but the next year there is a punishment for being in the bottom three of sorts that makes it worth not being in there. You play, if you finish in the bottom three, you are ineligible for the playoffs the next year or something like that. Like you are truly off the map for a year. Whatever it is, I would absolutely love to see, because the passion you see in those games are as good as games at the top, and the desperation and the joy among fans for a team that's fighting for its life in the bottom is unreal. Unreal.
Oh my God, we won the lottery!
Unreal.
All right.
I'm just saying.
I know. I don't have any takes on soccer. I mean, I'm happy for you guys.
Yeah. Anyway,
it's on at 8 a.m.
I will start as these relegation battles happen, and they're really interesting games. I will start giving them out because they're just fascinating. And I also won money on Everton because there's something to that too. They're good gambling opportunities on the Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook app. Should we dig into our listener hot takes?
Yeah, let's not hold these out any longer. Eric Schultz up first. Number one, the Lions were bold, which was very un-Lions of them. We should applaud that. Two, that said, if in 10 years we're looking back at this draft and the two who were picked after they traded up, Hamilton and Davis, are future Hall of Famers, it wouldn't surprise me one bit. And three, Couch can't say that Cask & Company has the underrated patio anymore now that they've been featured as one of the 6 best in the area by the LSJ. Definitely a worthy selection.
Absolutely. The Cask & Company.
Listen to you guys with your top 6 patios.
Yeah.
You guys are like a recruit or something.
I didn't even
top 15 patios. I'm going to announce them.
That's not my story. Like I can't have that sort of influence. That would be wouldn't be right, journalistically, so to speak.
And say so.
That's just on.
Everyone has a price.
Well, mine's $1.8 million, and I get out of the business. But we've talked about that. I'm talking about staying in the business.
8 subscriptions to the LSJ.
Okay. Let's. There is a chance always that the guys who are picked right behind them are great.
No chance.
No chance.
No chance. Yeah, but I mean, should we applaud the Lions for drafting the way that you should draft? I don't know if I will applaud them, but I love taking a risk. And if you like Williams to trade up with them, okay. I got to say, again, I'm not excited about trade up for a guy. But again, it's Brad Holmes' team. It's not my team. I root for this team. So more power to you. But I tell you what, if shit doesn't start to work, I don't know if we can wait like Bob Quinn and give him another year, 5-year plan with another year tagged on, which was a terrible mistake. So before I applaud the Lions, let's pump the brake.
Well, and the other thing is, everybody keeps talking about the quarterbacks next year and how much deeper a draft it is. It really is. There are two guys for sure, right? Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud. And even them, who knows what kind of year they have. But based on everything we've seen, we think those guys will be the two of the top couple picks and the guys everybody wants. And maybe somebody else emerges, and there are a few other names. But I don't know that beyond them there are people. So the question now becomes for the Lions, too, is eventually, and this will be the great maneuver Holmes has to do. This is how he'll ultimately be judged. He's got to build a good roster, obviously. But I don't want to watch the Lions be that team that can maybe win a championship and does it once with Joe Flacco or does it with Trent Dilfer.
Don't give a shit.
Or
what, if we win a Super Bowl?
Yeah, but
Joe Flacco.
I know. What I mean is it's so hard to build that way. Do it. You got to get a great quarterback. And I want to see what sort of gymnastics, because I don't think the Lions next year, maybe they're horrible again, but my guess is they're not going to naturally be in one of the top 2 picks next year. That's just my guess. My guess is they're going to wind up somewhere picked around 7 or 8 to 10 or around that range, right? And so how do you get yourself up there? And what I do think is there is evidence that he's bold enough and understands that enough and will do what it takes to get that guy when it's time.
And I think Hard Knocks will be very interesting, and you can get more of a gauge what happens behind the scenes. I understand that Dan Campbell is a rah-rah guy, but to watch those guys kind of gravitate towards him, the only concern I have with Dan Campbell is the X's and O's, and when it comes down to crunch time, will he be a guy when you look across the field and see Andy Reid, Belichick, or name a head coach, like that? Can he stay with a guy like that?
And will he have self-awareness? Like this year, again, it's another year where it doesn't fucking really matter. And so it does to you?
You can't say that. Yeah, because you can't sit there and go, this season doesn't matter. I mean, they fought, they clawed, they won some games last year. Let's try to do it this year. Don't say it's another season off. We have to have some sort of positivity.
I'm okay with that.
Train our brains.
You also then, say Jared Goff leads you to the playoffs. Right.
But see, that scares me because are they going to extend it?
Correct. You have to have the ball. You have to understand the difference between a championship quarterback and a good quarterback and be willing to, even if he turns into a good quarterback, get rid of him in the chase for a championship quarterback. You have to. The Lions, it's not like the Lions have never been to the playoffs before in our lifetimes. They've only won one playoff game. We have seen the wild card and out teams. That's not enough. It just won't do it. And I want to see the awareness from them that you got to expect greatness out of that position. Anything less, you keep trying.
Dominic up next. Number 1, Saturdays sound good on the Rube. His takes and trolls were on point. Graham was, status quo. 2, the Tony D excerpts were epic. Never worry that it's eating too much airtime as he's bumbling and spitting all over himself. The Umber plug payoff is undefeated. 3, I got to work something out with Groovy Donuts. That strawberry cheesecake donut was made for me. Fucking made for me. But I work nights and am almost always asleep during their hours of operation. Graham needs to be my runner and fetch me some donuts on command and drop them off.
I'm with you on the strawberry cheesecake donut. We both had one today.
Oh my God!
It is
on the drive home.
Yeah,
I did the Graham Couch thing where I stared at the box and then I'd open it and then I put it back down. Then I'd open it again and I go, all right, fine, well, let's just have one now.
Yeah, I did things to that donut that were,
Pants on.
Well, yeah, my wife was in the seat next to me.
I don't know what you guys are into.
It had no chance of making it all the way home, though. It had no chance to make it all the way home. Just fantastic donuts.
Just have a bite now and wait till we get home to eat the rest.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Chet Lemon. Number 1, Lions buzz is funny because we all know that they will screw it up somehow. I'm dead inside. I didn't feel a thing. 2, I want Tony D as my dad. He's so positive and never says anything negative. I shot someone, Dad. I have nothing to say. Do better next time, son. Big smile on face. 3, MSU new assistant coach will be far out of left field.
Yeah,
Let's go.
I'm curious to see where MSU goes with this. And I sometimes, I don't know if it needs to be a lot of left field, but I would kind of, not even at the time covering Michigan State, but covering Western, I've seen sometimes I've seen the left field hire not work. I've also seen the obvious hire be uninspiring. And so there's got to be a middle ground a lot of times to me. Like, there's got to be a guy who makes a lot of sense. And when you look at it sort of in hindsight, you go, oh, that connection to him, that sort of makes sense. I get why Izzo trusts this guy. Boy, that's intriguing. That could work. But yeah, we'll see where it goes.
Maybe. Number one, watching footage of the aircraft carrier basketball game. Mark Hollis needs to be a spring game consultant. His gimmicks could get 50,000 in the stadium. 2, you could get drunk by taking a shot every time Graham mentions showing teeth. And 3, the sun has set on Netflix's empire.
I'm not happy with Netflix. I'm not.
What they do now?
They laid off a lot of people, and a lot of people that they had recently hired and kind of recruited to leave good jobs. That drives me nuts. I understand businesses fold and things go wrong sometimes, and the realities of economics. But to me, when you go after people and lure them out of some other job that they've had for some new initiative, it's a 2-year minimum. Even at the most greedy corporations in the world, and I've worked in newspapers, right?
Yeah.
For Big Brother. Like, anytime we start a new initiative, you got 2 years. Newsroom of the Future, they called it in 2014. We had 2 years before there was a single layoff. Like, you get 2 years, and you kind of know it, and you can kind of exhale and go, I don't know if this is going to work, but I got 2 years. If I'm giving up this, if I'm moving houses, if I'm buying a new apartment, if I'm moving my kids, my family, I got 2 years minimum. And when you do that to people, like I would have canceled Netflix, and then I realized that we use my mother's account. But I was damn near about to cancel Netflix.
See, we canceled, but that was, I thought, because they were freaking out because people were using the same account or something like that. I figured they would come back and go, here, please come back at $8.99. But the problem is, when you're paying $32 million an episode for something like Stranger Things, it's a great show, but it comes out once every 2 years. You're throwing money at all of these comedy specials that are complete ass that no one watches or finds funny. You're wasting and hemorrhaging money, and guess who gets the fall? Is normal people working in an office. It's just ridiculous.
The ideal thing in this world is to not rely on an employer for your financial success.
So how do you do it? You steal money? I mean, what?
No.
You need the company.
You call Mark and Jay at North Coast Wealth Management. Call Mark and Jay. If you have investment questions, don't leave it up to Netflix or the greedy corporate buffoon in your life, right?
Oh my God, we won the lottery!
You call Mark and Jay at North Coast Wealth Management for questions about investments. Look, it is a volatile market right now. It is not. There's a lot in this economy that isn't like it was in the last 18 months. But Mark and Jay are strategic wealth managers. They are fiduciaries for their clients. That means your interest comes first. They are going to assess your needs and help you invest wisely based on your goals and your situation. They are in Southeast Michigan. Doesn't matter where you live. Mark and Jay have clients all over the country. You can find them online at northcoastwm.com. Give them a call. Mark and Jay at North Coast Wealth Management, 248-626-2000. And you can email them, info@northcoastwm. Let them know that Couch in the Rube sent you for a free consultation. See if Mark and Jay at North Coast Wealth Management are a fit for you.
I am never going to financially recover from this.
Yes, you are, Tiger King. Al, number one, kudos to Graham. His transfer portal logic held with Collins and Llewellyn at Michigan. 2, MSU Hoops next year will surprise folks and be a top 10 team at the end of the season. And 3, I just don't get Zack Snyder's appeal. The extended cut of the Justice League was still awful.
So you do see the first thing with Frankie Collins, seeing somebody who may replace him and getting into the portal, right? This is the May 1st thing I keep saying. Like, if you have an obvious need at a position, go ahead and fill it. Or if there's a guy you really love, but wait to see who's in there largely, and don't upset your own roster in this I mean, it's all a mess, and these guys are trying to figure it out too, these coaches. We're seeing how many guys are just jumping in the portal. But if you bring a guy in on April 29th and the kid's got 2 days to decide Does he want to be there? I'd probably put my name in the portal. I may stay, but I need to think about this. And I'm not saying you want to trick your own roster either. It's kind of a shitty situation all around. But I get why Frankie Collins is.
Well, how long should it take for a decision then? Not 2 days, a week then, or no?
Well, I'm just saying, like, if you're going to bring somebody in, wait till after May 1st, because then your kid can't get in the portal.
Oh,
it's too late for your own player to get into the portal for sure. And the idea of MSU Hoops could surprise folks next year and be a top 10 team by the end of the season.
All right.
I mean, yeah, it's a hot take. But we have seen teams that we didn't expect that from rise to that level before. It just takes a lot of development internally. And I'm not saying it can't happen. It would take a number of guys reaching levels that I think maybe they're capable of, but we just haven't seen it yet. And it'll probably take an addition at the 5 spot.
Bo McJunkin's up next. Number 1, the Lions will regret passing on the higher upside of Thibodeau in favor of a nice player that was hyped to be better than he is. 2, college basketball won't be as fun with name, image, and likeness not having any regulation. And 3, Trey Mosley will have 700-plus yards and play himself into the draft.
I think Mosley's got a shot. He's a really nice complimentary receiver who's been sort of under the radar. And, the beauty for Trey Mosley, and I don't know what Mosley's ceiling is, but he, again, is, and he's going to get a chance to be more the number 2, I think, this year. But he's not going to be the focus of defenses either. And I think that's a really good place for him. And I don't know. I like Trey Mosley's game an awful lot and really have since he started.
Gluten Weasel. Number 1, submitting my takes under the wire to keep you guys honest. 2, Skyman and Gin and Tonic is a perfect Sunday relaxed combo. And 3, I can't fake it. I just don't care about drafts or recruiting. Wake me when there's a game.
How many people do you think feel that way? Like, don't care about the off seasons of leagues?
I can't say that I don't care, but definitely the draft. After the second round, I was kind of like, okay. I just don't care. And the recruiting thing, I just feel it's not for me either because I'm with Gluten Weasel. I'm like, just let me know when there's a game. I do like the NFL offseason and free agency there, but
I like the NBA offseason. I like some of it.
There's drama to it.
Yeah.
And it's fun. It's kind of like, sensationalized like gossip and stuff with the NBA.
And what's your Sky Mint and Gin and Tonic? What is your and I know you don't drink, so Sky Mint and what?
Food.
Food, I know. We were just talking about this, my wife's gonna be asleep when I get home. There's undoubtedly gonna be Sky Mint flowing, and
Raccoon Graham.
Raccoon Graham is probably gonna come out tonight.
Leave her one donut at least. Sports Guy 1919. Number 1, if college players are being paid and treated like pros, then they should be able to be cut and scholarship removed if not performing up to standards.
So this is where it's going to get interesting because there's going to be a backlash against college athletes too. Because once you become a pro, the expectation changes. I don't know that. Like, I've always thought you cover a 19-year-old differently than you cover a 26-year-old. But if that 19-year-old is a pro, like when LeBron was a 19-year-old in the NBA, did you cover him differently than a 26-year-old pro? When you are choosing to be a pro, do you then look at, are the expectations different? If you're making $1 million, are you a quarterback? Can
we boo these guys now? Because everybody was, Joey Hauser and stuff. But if he's making money, is it okay?
I think certainly the more you get into being a professional, like I'm a huge believer in the old system because I thought a scholarship did have value, as much value as many of these athletes. But I was a big believer in the idea of a 4-year scholarship. If you were a coach and you said, I'm recruiting you, I'm bringing you to this school, as long as that player didn't do something off the field that was awful or academically flunk out, you're stuck with that kid. I'm sorry. You're not telling some kid who has friends who's built a life at a school, you're not running them out of your program. No, you chose that kid. If they didn't develop into the player you thought, that's partly on you. But the second they become more like pros, I don't care if you cut them in December, on December 5th, because that's the way it works in the pros. So you have to be careful those sort of conversations there's going to be a lot less sympathy for kids right now, again, we're talking about name, image, and likeness. We're not talking about colleges paying guys directly, but the way they're perceived is going to be different, and that's going to be really interesting to watch.
Spartan Johnny up next. Number 1, giving you guys solid content 2 days in a row and not getting paid is bullshit. Where's our name, image, and likeness deal, Couch? 2, Matty Sissoko wasn't transferring if someone with capable center skills showed up prior to 5-1. I trust Izzo and appreciate your 5-1 call out, but I'm also perplexed we don't have a centers lined up at the damn door to come to MSU, especially if you're a mid-major kid in the Midwest.
So you don't want that, though. You don't want a kid who's got lots of years left. You're trying to recruit guys in future recruiting classes. You've got freshmen coming in. I'm not saying that there aren't circumstances where you want a kid with a lot of years left. I think if you're Michigan State, what you really want, maybe you get a kid with 2 years left, but I think ultimately you're looking for a kid with a year left, or at least a kid who thinks he's going to spend a year and then go to the pros or whatnot. I think that's your ideal situation, more of the grad transfer type of deal. So that way it doesn't affect your recruiting in 2023. That would be my play.
Yeah, number 3 here.
Oh, sorry.
This Spartan-on-Spartan crime that's about to happen for Golden State versus Memphis is Izzo's development work at its finest. Be present and get your face on TV, Tommy. Shine and bask in the achievement of this moment.
There's no doubt that, I was watching today, and you've got
Jaren Jackson going on fire.
Yeah, and you've got Draymond Green going against Tillman. That is exactly 2 guys that most of the NBA slept
for
on
a quarter and a half.
Well, yeah. Until the refs stepped in. Yeah.
Yes. Chris Easlick, number 1, NFL mock draft experts are the only job you can be wrong 90% of the time and still keep your job.
Says the weatherman. I love it.
2, A.J. Curry will be one of the best late-round picks of the draft. And 3, moving landscape rocks is ass. Looks great when it's done, but my back is toast. There's your live read alley-oop, Graham.
Yeah, if you move landscape rocks, right? If you move anything that hurts your back, Skymint is here for you, right? You shouldn't even begin a project like that without a trip to Skymint, because when you're just not feeling great, you need some pain relief. Skymint will talk. If you go in there, they will talk you through which specific strains and what you ought to be using for pain relief, what you need for energy, what you want for sleep. Skymint is here for that. Go to skymint.com for location information and specials. They've had some terrific specials lately, and you can have them emailed right to your inbox. Every day I pop up, new Skymint email. This is what they got going on, and a lot of days I'd walk my fat ass over there and get something.
When are we going to get weed delivered by drone? Now that'll be great. All right, Gavin, up next. Number 1, Lions trading up for Jamison Williams was amazing, but taking 3-4 edge rushers in a single draft is questionable. 2, absolutely love the Kirby Joseph pick in the 3rd round. And 3, Brad Holmes is ready to start making winning moves, and he showed that in the trade up for Williams.
Yeah, Kirby Joseph, the one thing that scares me is I keep saying, well, he's not really fast. All I think of is Taze Tibor. I'm like, no
I thought
speed.
He was fast.
I think he's not fast.
Taze? I know he wasn't in real life, but I thought everyone thought he was fast.
I thought
that's why he was drafted that high.
I don't know how they
he
got
ran
that.
a good 40 or something. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I do. Look, the Jamison Williams thing this is why I can't be a GM, but it's because I would have drafted all those receivers the Lions did years ago and done it over again. But I do love the idea of what this kid will become, even if I don't know if we'll get to see it this year or not, or how many games into the season it'll happen.
Jay Riemenschneider, number 1, even with the roster changes, here are my non-fanboy with some conviction bold predictions sure to go wrong. Michigan football will go 11-1, lose close to undefeated Ohio State, and still be in college football playoff consideration after the loss. Michigan basketball will tie for the league title, be a 2. Are these 3 takes in one here? What is happening? Michigan basketball will be for the league title, be a 2 seed, and go to the Elite 8. 2, had high hopes for Frankie Collins as much as MSU fans have to with Jaden Akins. And I think Collins could have made a Hogard-like leap to become a real leader in his 2nd year. And 3, people losing things is ridiculous to me. Everything has a place. Keys, wallet, phone, etc. Either in your pocket or on your nightstand or someplace that's always the same. My wife, kids, and friends lose stuff constantly, while I never lose anything. Maybe I'm the strange one.
I lose shit all the time. So
I'm with Jay. I don't.
You don't lose stuff?
Oh, I do not. My wallet, I know exactly where it is at all times. The key is at the front door. So,
yeah.
My friend Jordan, he carries his ID and a credit card, and then just everything's just in his pocket. It's not in a wallet or anything.
Just falls
just
out.
Money.
Oh, yeah.
Random dollar bills and shit. It's just like, how do you keep track of all that? And he just slaps it on the table, scoops it back up, and moves on. I can't do that.
And this is coming from somebody who once gambled $100 he didn't have.
More than that. Multiple times.
There you go.
Save us Riley Green. Number one, Hutchinson will be a bust because it only makes sense. That said, I thought the Lions had a very stellar draft somehow. 2, Connor Hayward will have the longest NFL career of any of the Spartans drafted, and I never thought I would say that. And 3, the Steelers taking Pickett, by far the worst pick.
I don't know. I mean, the thing that was uninspiring is when they said the comps to Pickett. And again, you don't know what somebody's going to become, but they're like, he could be Kirk Cousins. You're like, oh.
Insert white guy, right-handed white guy.
Yeah, it's like, well, wait a second. That's and the reason that's not really fair to Pickett, and this is not a complete knock on Cousins. They're just different players. Cousins does not move that well. Pickett's actually a pretty quick athlete. Like, they're just different in that sense. I don't think that's entirely fair. I didn't hate that.
I would take being Kirk Cousins though.
Oh, same. Well, some of it, yeah.
Well, yeah, not the whole thing.
No, yeah. Connor Hayward, I do think, first of all, it's a great story. To be where his brother is really cool. It's cool for his mom. I think he's somebody that NBA team or NFL teams do really, really like because of his versatility. And he is the type of guy that, you know, I could see staying in the NFL for 7-8 years because he's going to be affordable. He can do a lot of different kind of things for you. And, you know, that's the sort of guy that you're going to, you know, whatever. It's like, oh, Connor Hayward's
of all trades.
Yeah. No, those guys tend to last. He's a kid with I think he's got a good attitude, good head on his shoulders. His family's, you know, it's Ironhead Hayward's his dad. Like, they've lived in the NFL life. They know the expectations. They know how to behave. You know, I think there's a chance for him to have a decent NFL career.
Pearson up next. Number 1, Scott Skiles fills Dwayne Stevens' vacant seat and is named.
I think we missed JD.
Shit, I'm sorry, JD. Oh, shit, sorry, JD. Number 1, Tigers will finish with a worse record than last year. 2, Connor Hayward will have a good career with the Steelers. And 3, taking Hutch over Thibodeau will be the only bad mark from this Lions draft.
See, unless Thibodeau is an absolute Lawrence Taylor and Hutchinson is just.
But if it's a bad mark, it's not good at number 2. You really can't screw those picks up.
Right. No, that's absolutely. No, that's totally fair. A worse record than last year. What did the Tigers finish with last year? Hold on, let me look at that.
Buenos tardes. It is time for the Detroit Tigers Gambling Update with Gramanito Couch and Jason Nick.
So a year ago, they went 77-85. I mean, they were overachievers last year. Yeah. That's where they. I mean, and right now the over/under is what it was 78.5 coming into this year. Doesn't look like they're going to hit it. Yeah, I'm with you. It's frustrating, but I right now I think 72, 73 is about where I think they wind up.
It's going to be a long season. All right, back to Pearson. Number 1, Scott Skiles fills Dwayne Stevens' vacant seat and is named Izzo's successor. 2, Max Christie stays in draft, and Keon Brooks, Kentucky transfer, takes his roster spot, leading MSU to a Final Four next season. And 3, Reuben Owens pledges to MSU and gives Tucker a top 10 recruiting class and everyone's favorite bonus take. MSU needs to plant huge redwood trees around Spartan Stadium and officially rename it the Woodshed.
Yeah, if you're going to do the Woodshed, maybe you totally go all in and embrace that.
You give like 8 students chainsaws during a game, not like with real chains.
Okay.
Not with real chains like they do in the haunted houses and stuff, the haunted hay rides. There's no chains in it.
The Portland Timbers, an MLS team, they actually have a dude like in overalls. You know, he's not in the actual stands, but he actually cuts off a piece of wood every time they like score or something happens. Like it's insane. You could do that. I don't know if you want that on the sideline in a football game.
Chopping wood on the sideline.
Yeah, I don't know if you want an actual chainsaw anywhere near anything, but. The Scott Skiles idea, look, Keon Brooks would be interesting to see. I mean, MSU was interested in him initially. I think Skiles, Skiles is almost 60 now. If Skiles were 20 years younger and had a head coaching stint in the NBA like he had, and I just don't think his career track really fits. At one point, I think he wanted to be the next MSU coach. I do believe that.
Nick Palmer, number 1, this draft will set the record for most linemen and linebackers in the Hall of Fame. 2, as a Vikings fan, Naylor will have a chance at wide receiver 4. And 3, this will be the week where MSU will announce a new hockey coach.
I do think the hockey coach thing could happen this week. And I don't know if it'll be fully announced, but I think it may come to fruition. And obviously Jeff Blashill was just let go by the Red Wings. I have no idea if he'll have any interest, but I do know that one of the stories I would like to do at some point is how this search happened. And because I think it was very interesting, the group of people that Alan Haller tried to put together to help him with it. This wasn't some search committee like hired outside firm people who don't know shit. This was hockey people at the highest levels and throughout, and I'm curious to learn more about that group.
Professor, up next. Number 1, Memphis versus Golden State is must-see TV for Spartan fans. 2, people will complain about the name, image, and likeness process in college sports right up until the time their own team benefits. 3, the power dynamic shift that happens when your parents ask to use your Netflix password is amazing.
There are power dynamic shifts in every parent-child relationship, right?
But what do they pay for you, or what have they paid?
Well, lots of things, but all of a sudden that's a big, although...
Yeah, but like, motherfucker, I'll get Netflix myself.
But here's the problem.
Paid for you to go to college.
Here's what I don't know of what Professor's saying. When they ask for your password, and yes, the power is shifted, but they also now see what you're watching. And it's not like Netflix has
what could
porn.
You watch on Netflix?
So, right, that's a good point. It's not like they have... Yeah,
Dad hitting you up for the Pornhub password.
That'd be
awkward as hell.
Whole different relationship. Yeah. But to number 2, I do think that's the other thing. Like NIL, and I think MSU fans are probably conflicted because, like, I'm not sure if what Matt Ishbia is doing is exactly what was intended to happen, where you can pay Mel Tucker's salary. And you can be an NIL sponsor for every single player. And yet, I think both those things are incredibly important for MSU athletics. And so people want that. And I don't think anybody has a huge problem with it, especially if that's just the name of the game. I'll be curious to see if there is a point, though, where there is a kid who comes to Michigan State or Michigan or anywhere, and we're very aware of the $500,000, $1 million that somebody's offering them to do it. And if there is that kind of donor out there, and if Michigan and Michigan State don't have donors willing to do that, how far do you fall behind? How much is there frustration when that doesn't exist for your particular team?
Birthday boy Andrew Gauthier up next. Number 1, the Rubes Graham impersonation may be his funniest yet. 2, either the Lions are building something legit or we're going back to the drawing board in 2 years. 3, weekend Costco shoppers are crazy. Went to order contact lenses yesterday, never going there again on a Saturday. Bonus, people need to stop running on the road at 5 a.m. in dark clothing. What is wrong with you? Are you trying to get hit by a car? For the love of God, wear a light and some lighter colors.
Was that you out for your morning run at 5 a.m.?
Here's where runners get it wrong. Here's where dumb runners get it wrong. They run in the dark.
Is that the Graham?
Yeah, that's just what it is. By the way, Costco, Teresa and I are new members. We went in today. When we got our cards, the lady goes, "Is this your first time here?" And I go, "Yeah." She goes, "Get out of here."
What?
She goes, "Turn around and get out." It was crazy, dude. Insane. I've never seen anything like that.
That's great advice, though. That's helpful in a lot of ways.
Yeah, because we were like, we'll just go check it out in case we need something in gigantic bulk sizes. But I was like, there was people everywhere. And she's like, yeah, Costco people take Costco seriously.
By the way, that is a story we're telling, presented by our friends at Midtown Brewing Company, 402 South Washington Avenue. If you're looking for a place for a beer after work, for a lunch with a colleague, for a date night that'll impress your significant other, Midtown Brewing Company, outstanding menu, great beer selection. The American Stout is my absolute favorite. Just a great vibe, and it's easy to find right on the edge of the south side of downtown Lansing on Washington Avenue. You're going to love the menu, and you're going to love the food. You're going to love the vibe and everything about it. By the way, we're Costco members. There are times that I'm not even allowed to go anymore with Elizabeth because I just follow her in the cart, throwing things in it that I like a 6-year-old trying to get away with it. Like, they're all the beef they have. It's incredible. I'm like, oh, I want. And by the time we check out, she's like, wait a second, what? What is this? I'm like, I don't know.
I want to make some s'mores later. Can I just make some s'mores? Spartan 18770. Number 1, Jason, from now on, every time Graham has a bad take, respond with a cockburn in Coach K's voice. Cockburn. 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 2, first you make us listen to a podcast on a Saturday at about 6 a.m. Now we got to get our takes in a 24-hour turnover. What are we, a bunch of journalism? We really are pushing our fucking luck, man.
Absolutely.
What are we, a bunch of journalism interns working in West Michigan? 3, we need an amazing race-style show with Michigan sports journalists. They will be paired for a week, going from one sporting event to another nonstop. No 5-star hotels, no first-class airfare, just 2 dudes in a 2010 Honda Civic and fast food. Winner gets a case of Halo Sport.
Appreciate you, Spartan.
Oh, man.
That
would be a great show. I would watch that. If it were like you and Solari.
Oh, God.
And like one of the things is like you can't give him directions.
Oh.
So you have to follow Solari's directions.
Oh, man. Oh, I'm
telling you, this is a really good show idea.
It would be entertaining. It would be entertaining. I can think of personality pairings.
I mean, you without a 5-star hotel, if you had to stay on one of those like the Shady Dell or whatever on the side of the road.
I could handle most places as long as it came with Marriott points. I don't need. I can do a Fairfield or a Delta. I just need the points. If I don't get the points, I sweat. I can't think about it. It feels like a waste of time.
Yeah. Derek Maribon, number 1. I only has 1 apparently. 1. Really like Boston against Milwaukee. They've been waiting. They're at home. LOL. Glad I don't gamble. No matter how enticing the Firekeepers casino sports betting app sounds.
It is enticing. It's very friendly. But you would have lost money today if you had bet Boston like I did, and it was not.
That was Harry's. Was that his pick on his wedding day? And he lost by 20.
It's not
minus 220. I could see him sailing right in with a nice minus 220 locked pick.
I really liked it too, and it made too much sense, right? It just and the thing about Milwaukee that we forget, even if they're shorthanded and all that jazz, is like that is a seasoned championship team, and those teams you should never underestimate. Betting, I still think Boston wins that series, but underestimating Milwaukee is.
Now, did you see Harry's video of him doing his lock of the day during the vows?
Yes. Insane.
And I know we're not going to have him on this week because he's probably on a honeymoon or something, but we have to ask him about that.
Yes, no, for sure.
Like, absolutely. She was crying, and I'm like, is she crying because she's happy or crying because her now husband is doing a fucking live commercial?
Like, can you imagine trying to pull that off?
Dude, Treese would kick my ass. She doesn't care about anything. She would kick me square in the balls.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do a cameo. Okay, I'll say Cockburn. South of Munn. Number 1, calling what the Lions are doing in the draft part of a rebuild is ridiculous. You can't rebuild what never existed. 2, MSU hockey needs to pass on the 17 and 18-year-old high school recruits and go for the aging out juniors who have realized that the NHL may not be in their future. Let's put 22 to 23-year-old men on the ice and pummel people. It has worked well for Minnesota State. And 3, I enjoyed the Joey Hauser column, Graham. Glad Joey Hauser is having fun with hoops again.
Appreciate you, South of Munn. Yeah, no, it was one of those columns that I'm glad I did in person because you really got a sense of him and being in a very different place and a very different conversation than I've ever had with him, which is good to see. He's a 22-year-old guy who's playing Division I basketball on a college campus. Like, life should be freaking good for Joey Hauser, and so it was good to see that it is.
And to see what his day in, day out during the COVID thing, I can just reading it, I was like, man, that is a bummer. If you're a kid like that playing for Michigan State and you can only go to your room to practice or whatever, that would suck.
The testing, I think the uncertainty for those guys, like the testing every day and knowing that if you had a false positive, you ruined the whole team. Like, it's just a brutal.
Can't see your family.
To the number 2 though. So Mike Hastings, who's the coach at Minnesota State, has won with a lot of this style. Ferris State, when they had great success a couple years back, did this. It can work. There are lots of different ways to win in college hockey. Ideally, you have a good mix, and that's the thing. Like, Michigan won largely this year because it got something that rarely happens. It got great prospects to come back for year 2. When you just get them for 1 year and you're trying to live with, no matter how good they are, it usually doesn't lead to like great success in the NCAA tournament. And older teams often win, but the mix is what you're looking for. But there's an argument, and that's just different than any other sport. Can you imagine being a college basketball fan and going, yeah, Michigan State should not recruit guys who might be pros? Like, they should instead get 24-year-old dudes who are headed to Europe and dominate at that. It's just a different
bunch of Joe Ingles.
Yeah, just a different concept.
Terrible what college basketball be. I love Joe Ingles. But Ken Chu, number one, no longer needing to worry about academics and eliminating NCAA practice time restrictions enables late-round or undrafted players to blossom into NFL stars. 2, hockey should be made a two-handed shove in the back with your stick a penalty. They could call it cross-checking. And 3, Graham, compared to hockey, soccer is ass.
It's like your opinion, man. I don't have a problem with hockey. I love soccer, and it's different. And here's the thing: I should have played hockey, and I will introduce my own kids to hockey because if you're going to be built like me, I think hockey, and you have good hand-eye coordination, and you have thick calves and thighs, like you might be quicker on the ice than you are in real life. Hockey is a sport I should have tried. I just didn't grow up in it, so I'm not anti-hockey by any stretch. Soccer's not ass. Neither is hockey.
Debatable. Clint Bainey, number one, I think in golf, your opponent's caddy gets to use a blowhorn once a round. You can use it whenever it makes the most strategic sense. 2, once you put on the Honolulu blue, you are a part of the family. I don't care if you are a Wolverine, Buckeye, or Fighting Irishman. I know it's one of the many character flaws. 3, pet peeve people who say wash. It's wash, for fuck's sake. Bonus take. Stayed in downtown Lansing last night. We had a great time at some really cool bars. Good vibe, Lansing.
Appreciate you, Clint. Lansing's a great fucking place. Wash is like you get this with Washington and washing machine. I see that and this is like central Illinois to southern Illinois. I remember my college roommate's mother staying with him in Petersburg, Illinois for a summer when I was interning in Springfield. And she would always say, do you want me to, wash your clothes for you? It drove me insane.
Isn't that something that you could change, though?
I don't know.
Wash? How do you get that in your brain?
So what do you think about adding that to golf? You could.
It'll never happen.
No.
These guys flip out when someone, has a camera out or certain noises. I can understand. Golf is hard enough already. What the fuck do we need to do that for?
Yeah, no. I do love the other part of the way that we go from the silos that exist in college athletics in a state like Michigan, that there's no other state maybe like it really because, Alabama doesn't have a professional sports franchise. Oregon doesn't have pro football. How many places have a rivalry like Michigan State with that dynamic that then have a pro sports team that everybody's on the same side of? You know what I mean? That's an interesting.
Do the Seahawks count as a football team?
Well, in Seattle, but that's just
Oregon.
Different. There aren't many places like it that have that sort of great in-state rivalry. I guess Florida probably has this. Florida pro sports are kind of ass, but there's probably some stuff with the Dolphins, I would guess. But they got multiple teams, right? So Tampa and I just don't. When you got one NFL team and you got one NBA team, and you have that dynamic, I think. But it happens in football more because of bigger rosters. Obviously, I just think it's pretty cool.
Jarrett, number one, Michigan State will have 8 draft picks next year. 2, Georgia will have a Clemson-like season, 10-3. 3, the Tigers will have at least 3 All-Stars.
If this Tigers roster gets, Javi Baez is off to a great start, so you could see how he could be an All-Star this year.
Who else?
But yeah, and obviously somebody else could pick it up. It's early.
Sure.
And I don't know.
Meadows, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, he's had a decent enough start, I guess. Nobody. I guess sometimes you see a bullpen pitcher that happened last year, right? Then
won't be Soto.
Soto, the guy last year. I keep thinking it was Jimenez, but
yeah,
I don't know. So yeah, that would be incredible. 8 draft picks. I don't think I can get to 8, no matter how well things go. But you could see a scenario where Malik Carr has a year, right, and he becomes a draft pick. You could see a scenario where, and obviously Jaden Reed, does Peyton Thorne have a year where then he leaves? You could see a scenario where 4 guys on offense are going next year. Can they get there in defense? That 8 would be, but again, these are hot takes, so not knocking it.
Dark Mantonio, number 1, Michigan basketball is now an uneasy place. Collins transferring out, now whispers that Terrence Williams may be next. 2, outside of the NBA draft, there's no more big sporting events to disrupt your show schedule, So can we please keep a regular Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday night schedule? Some of us don't live on social media, so it's hard to keep up with the changes. Better yet, just give us our tried and true Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And 3, I will say, your Twitter question show is by far the best one of all the other podcasts that do Twitter questions. Maybe that's a testament to all of your awesome contributors.
We do have awesome contributors.
Wait, other people do Twitter questions? Fuck that, dude. We started this whole thing.
It's a 1 in a million idea. How could anybody else think of it?
And yes, we do thank our contributors.
Yeah, we appreciate it. And your Twitter questions are awesome because they're not just, I think you get us and you guys, the flow of the show goes because of the questions you have. Now, to Dr. Antonio's point on the show schedule, some of you guys aren't going to love the summer show schedule. When we get to the fall, I think we'll be Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday night. And that is the hope back when. But in the summer, Sunday night should be a pretty constant. Tuesday or Wednesday will happen as the other one. And then there will be some shows that are, if we have a Tuesday, then we'll do a Wednesday Twitter question. And sometimes we'll do a Saturday morning Twitter question. We're not going to be doing Thursday night shows and not going to be doing Friday shows during the summer. And then we'll have a couple weeks off a couple times too. So there's going to be some times that we're away. So apologies. But you're right to this component of it, that we should realize that not everybody's on Twitter, and we should find a better way to announce it. We'll start making sure
Graham took a week off. If you don't know about Twitter, to let you know,
put it on Facebook as well, and maybe other ways, and try and get it out there earlier so you have some idea when the next show is coming.
Tucker Tarleson, number 1, the Tigers turn this season around, and Miggy brings home the pennant with a grand slam. Hope so. 2, don't know what that word is. Oh, Sprechers. Sprechers is the best soda known to man, particularly the cream soda and orange dream flavors.
I love that the people at Sprechers started then corresponding with them after
really?
This tweet. Yeah, I think they looked them up. It was pretty cool.
Do they want to sponsor the show?
No,
why not?
We got an opening. Halo's gone.
Yeah, why not? 3, mint chocolate chip is the ice cream of the intellectuals, such as I. Sorry, everyman.
I'm a big mint chocolate chip guy, too. And I found one yesterday at Horrocks. And by the way, it was the best parking lot experience at Horrocks I've ever had. That says, I don't believe this. It says 0 sugar and 0 added sugar. I believe there's a mislabeled thing. There's just no way. Is
that the gelato?
No, it's like really good. I think something's wrong because it was fantastic. And it just can't
Why don't
be.
you have them give you that sign so you can hold it up when Elizabeth sees you eating it?
No, she was with me. I was like, hey, babe, look at this. This is amazing. I put it in the cart.
Sugar-free. Put like 8 of them in there.
I mean, what if we asked Monica and Andrew to do a sugar-free groovy donut? You can't do it.
As someone that has to eat sugar-free things, it's complete ass.
Yeah, you wouldn't want it.
It's impossible to make a donut that way.
I think this label was incorrect. I'm pretty sure.
Tyrone Couch. Number 1, is 1994 the best year for rap? Dr. Dre, Chronic, Black Sheep, Nonfiction, Bone Thugs and Harmony, Scarface, The Diary, Outkast, Warren G, Regulate, UGK, Super Tight, DeBrat, Redman, Beastie Boys, Method Man, MC8, Big Mike, Public Enemy, and Master P. Yes, it is. 2, would Graham have given up basketball for life to be a professional hockey player? And 3, if Mel Tucker stays, how long will it take him to surpass Mark D'Antonio for career school wins? How much money would you place on some random app that does or does not exist? Bonus.
Or that he does not.
Does not.
Yeah.
Whatever. Bonus. Change the questions to hot takes. Sorry for my comprehension fail. 1994 was the best year. Graham would give up basketball to be a pro. What?
He's answering his questions.
Okay. Mel Tucker.
So we'll get into it for him here.
Okay.
We'll get into it for him. So, first of all, 90s, mid to late 90s in music, and maybe just because we were teenagers then, is way better than anything since. 94, 95, 96, 97, great
rock,
years.
Music, everything.
And absolutely, I would have given up basketball to be a professional hockey player. Like, to be a professional athlete in anything, I would have.
Yeah, what are you doing with basketball?
Yeah, well,
I'm saying you're waking up and playing at 6 a.m. and then bragging about it on a podcast.
Well, I haven't played
with
those guys in a
rather do that than be a professional hockey player?
No.
That's
Of course not. No, not even close. Not even close. So the question, though, is how long would it take Mel Tucker to surpass Mark D'Antonio for career school wins? Like over 100? I mean, you're talking. It would take him a decade at least a decade. And I just don't think I wouldn't put money on it because I don't know that he'll be at Michigan State that long. That's a long time for anybody. I mean, even if he is a long-time coach at Michigan State, the idea that he'll do a full decade is you wouldn't predict that.
Spawn on Stout sponsors. Number one, nothing makes me happier than a Lions drafting Hutchinson so he can join the Lions Hall of Fame of overrated college players. Except, of course, a 2-for-1 sale by Skymint Cannabis. If you see Lincoln Tomlinson, Stocker McDougal, or Aaron Gibson looking at Aiden, pop a gummy from Skymint. 2, when I'm enjoying a stout beer from Midtown Brewing Company or the TV setup at Front 43 Neighborhood Pub, like to remember a time before transfer portals and name, image, and likeness, a simpler time when payoffs, cars, and no-show classes were done under the table. And 3, when I'm trying to keep up with my friends at Couch in the Rube over back-to-back shows, I see my friends at Groovy Donuts, the best source for a sugar rush to stay awake for Graham Stout soccer segments. My friends Andrew and Monica at Groovy Donuts have a diabetes bomb ready for me.
Appreciate you. Spawn of Stout sponsors.
Let's go!
Neurotic pants. Number 1, the reason high school and JUCO baseball doesn't take off is because the weather blows, and the fielding is not always inspiring. 2, 70-year-olds with profound disappointments in life are nightmares for kids working in the customer service industry. That's great. 3, really hope you guys get an adult diaper or tampon sponsor so we can listen for how Graham would work plugs into the show.
Well, here's the thing. Like we try to, find sponsors that fit us. Like, this is not these are not just random things. I mean, some tampon company. I mean, obviously,
and that reminds me, it's that time of the month. Speaking of,
trying to work
flow in town.
Can you imagine us trying to work in our wives' periods into the show? It'd be awful. It'd be the worst.
This podcast would be done. That would end the podcast.
Yes, in a second.
I have a price, but damn.
Yeah.
That would be tough. Hans Jurgen. Number 1, 6 months from now, no one will remember anything from the NFL draft except Ed Marinario's, I hate his name, embarrassing appearance. 2, Ohio State will overlook MSU next year and lose. 3, Go Blow will choke against us again next year and lose. We're in their heads as much as donuts are in Grams. And bonus, despite defeating Ohio State and Go Blow, MSU will lose focus and be defeated by Minnesota and Penn State. A frustrated Mel Tucker will jump to the NFL. Pat Narduzzi will return, and in the ultimate show of hubris, Graham will try to become a soccer writer.
Hey, man, we got enough soccer teams in town. I just go cover, I can go over and do Lansing Common soccer. I got soccer in town.
It's going so well, too. The bonus take.
Always
ruins stuff.
Till the soccer.
Yeah.
I am curious, like, you're right on sort of my predictions for next year a little bit. I think that Minnesota game is intriguing and dangerous for MSU, the one at Spartan Stadium early on like September 24th. And I think the Ohio State game, which is very early next year, is incredibly intriguing. I want to pick MSU to win it, but I think MSU will be, they will be supremely motivated to be competitive in that game, and I would not be surprised if they are.
Upper Deck Jerk Guy to end this deal. Number 1, this draft will make no difference to the Lions' losing ways. 2, rugby is greater than soccer by a wide margin. And 3, Rube needs his own show because Graham is weighing him down.
It's a fair third point.
Is that a fat joke?
I think a spinoff with Rube and something would do well.
Rube and Sims.
Oh, God.
So good the first time. No.
It would not.
I'm happy with this show.
It would not do well. I certainly hope this draft is the beginning of greatness for the Lions, and that we look back and say, "Wow, that was something." On the 4th Super Bowl they've won before our 50th birthdays. We appreciate all of you, and we know it's a tight turnaround. Those of you who took part, and those of you who listened, and we just appreciate you, and I think you know that. We appreciate Mark and Jay at North Coast Wealth Management. Give Mark and Jay a call. That is 248-626-2000. You can email Mark and Jay at North Coast Wealth Management, North Coast Wealth Management at info@northcoastwm.com. Find them online at northcoastwm.com. Mark and Jay are here for your investment needs. If you let them know Couch in the Rube sent you, it's a free consultation. See if they are a fit for you. Appreciate you, Skymint. Appreciate you, Midtown Brewing Company. We'll talk to you later this week. Couch in the Rube. Good show, man.
Yeah, man.